Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum, dear students. I am your teacher Simi Namer, and today I am here again with a new lecture. I hope you are keeping well in these unprecedented and challenging and difficult times. So please stay at home. Okay, let's start the lecture. So this is my lecture number 7 for my ever best class, grade 01, and today we have a geography class. So we have to continue with unit number 8, which is power resources. So we are already done with the coal and mineral oil. So today we are starting from page number 140 and the topic is natural gas. So let me tell you about some of the properties of natural gas. This is the natural gas is colorless, it's odorless, tasteless, and non-toxic. You might wonder why I said that it's odorless. Did you know before that natural gas has no smell and its smell has been added for safety reasons? When it's taken from the ground, natural gas is completely odorless. A non-toxic odorant, which is called a mercaptan, is added just to make making leaks easy to detect. So natural gas contains no toxic poisonous ingredients that can be absorbed into the blood when inhaled. So keep your books open. Let me read from your book also. Natural gas is an important fuel found in oil-bearing rocks above the oil. These rocks have millions of tiny holes. They act like a sponge and soak up the gas as it is formed. Above this rock, there is a layer of non-porous rocks that trap the gas underground and stop it from leaking out to the surface. That is the composition, and the natural gas is made up of many gases, especially methane, ethane, propane, and butane. Natural gas was discovered in 1952 at Sui, Balochistan by Pakistan Petroleum Limited (PPL) while drilling in search of oil. This gas field is considered to be one of the largest in the world. It was the first milestone of hydrocarbon exploration. Now, Pakistan has the second largest gas infrastructure in the world, and this sector attracts by far the highest level of foreign direct investments in the country. The Sui area in Balochistan, that is the first gas field, has become the largest gas field for Pakistan. Soon after discovery, a pipeline to Karachi was completed to provide cheap fuel to the industrial city. That pipeline was from Sui area to Karachi. In your book on page number 140, there's a figure 8.20. You can see figure 8.20. There are some red lines showing the pipelines that are going directly from Sui to different areas. So a pipeline to Karachi was completed to provide cheap fuel to the industrial city. Another pipeline to Multan was completed in 1958 to supply gas to the thermal power station and fertilizer plant. And this pipeline has been extended to Faisalabad, where another gas-fired power station has been set up, and it has been further extended to Lahore. It was also taken to Rawalpindi, Islamabad, and then to Peshawar. A pipeline also goes to Quetta from Sui. More gas fields have been discovered since then. So I have just explained the pipelines that was used from Sui to Karachi and then Sui to Multan and then further extended towards the north of Pakistan towards Peshawar. And it was ended into Peshawar. But do you know how the northern areas are using this gas? There are some highlands, there are some mountainous areas, and the northern areas in Pakistan that is not served by these pipelines. So these areas are served by LPGs, which is liquefied petroleum gas. When natural gas is cooled to a very low temperature, it turns into a liquid. This liquid is called liquefied petroleum gas or LPG. It can be moved from place to place in special cylinders in mountainous areas like Murree, Gilgit, Abbottabad, where there are no gas pipelines. Many people use LPG for heating and cooking purposes. The LPG run vehicles have lower emission of reactive hydrocarbons, and 60% of the carbon dioxide than gasoline vehicles. Okay, then on page number 42, there's another source of energy which is called the nuclear energy. Nuclear energy is power that is released from atoms. It is the most powerful source of energy. It is the energy that powers the sun. This energy is made in power plants by splitting the nuclei of heavy atoms such as uranium. This splitting of nuclei releases a very large amount of energy. There are two types of nuclear reactions which releases energy. One is fission and the other is fusion. Both fission and fusion are nuclear reactions that produce energy, but the applications are not the same. Fission is the splitting of a heavy unstable nucleus into two lighter nuclei, and fusion is the process where two light nuclei combine together, releasing vast amount of energy. Nuclear fission is essential to producing nuclear energy. The fission process is when an atomic nucleus is broken by neutron impact. The original nucleus splits into two lighter nuclei, also releasing free neutrons and a large quantity of energy and radiations. Today, nuclear power is used worldwide. It provides almost 20% of world's electricity, which is about 8% is US only, and 69% of US non-carbon electricity generation, and this is more than 100 plants in US non-built since the 1970s, and more than 200 plants in the Europe, which is about 80% of its power is from nuclear energy. The nuclear power stations produce energy in much the same way as those using fossil fuels. Both types use heat energy to make steam. This nuclear power plant is a thermal power station, and in which the heat source is a nuclear reactor. As is typical of thermal power stations, heat is used to generate steam that drives a steam turbine, and this steam turbine connected to a generator that produces electricity. Many of the advanced countries of the world have developed their nuclear energy resources to a great extent. Pakistan is also utilizing nuclear energy for electricity generation. The Karachi nuclear power plant was commissioned in 1971 as the first nuclear power station. It has an installed capacity of 137 megawatt. The second nuclear power plant, Chashma nuclear power plant, was constructed under a contract between Pakistan Atomic Energy Commission and the China National Nuclear Corporation. The plant was commissioned in 1999. Pakistan is constantly facing an energy crisis, but not everyone agrees that nuclear energy is the best solution because there are some bad effects on environment and on humans also. It can damage cells and lead to cancer in humans. Their radiation can cause vomiting, hair loss, and possibly death, maybe some general weakness. That can also lead to nausea, skin burns, and diarrhea. It can also lead to some environmental issues also. The environmental health concerns like it can disrupt the fish aquatic life in waterway and it can lead to acid rain and can contaminate the groundwater. There are some safety concerns like terrorists could target nuclear reactors. Further, the disposing of the nuclear waste is very difficult and needs to be done after a lot of planning by the experts. The radioactive waste takes years to be no longer hazardous for the environment, and waste must be stored very carefully for a long time. Storing is a huge problem. The waste is very dangerous, it is radioactive, and nuclear power plants are very expensive to build. Uranium is not renewable and can lead to environmental problems through mining and processing. But there are some advantages of nuclear energy. Nuclear plants bring jobs and prosperity to the country, obviously, and provides the world with the most of its electricity. Yes, agreed. And not many nuclear have happened. Natural disasters cause more damage to the environment. Yes, it is true. And some of the countries like Canada has easy access to uranium, and it is good for the economy. So we can build our country's economy with this energy, and lots of energy is produced from a small amount of uranium and it does not emit carbon dioxide. So greenhouse gases are not emitted by this nuclear energy, and it can generating electricity from nuclear energy causes little pollution. So it can cause little pollution in the environment. Thermal electricity on page number 143. Electricity is a flexible form of energy that can be easily converted to heat, light, or sound energy. Electricity that is generated by non-renewable resources like oil, coal, gas, nuclear fuel is called thermal electricity. Thermal means heat, so the energy that is the electricity that is produced by the heat energy. Fossil fuels and nuclear power stations produce heat energy. This is used to turn water into steam, which is then used to run turbines. A thermal power plant converts the heat energy of coal into electrical energy. Coal is burned in a boiler which converts water into steam. The expansion of steam in turbines produces mechanical power which drives the alternator coupled to the turbine. Thermal power plants contribute a maximum to the generation of power for any country. There is a rising need for alternative and renewable sources of energy in Pakistan, whose progress and economic growth may strongly be linked to availability of power for industrial, agriculture, and domestic purposes. Pakistan is an energy deficient country and each year spends a large amount of its foreign exchange on the import of oil to meet its energy requirement. Thus, the need to develop alternative energy resources has become an emergency requirement for running the country. According to the Oxford Dictionary, alternative energy is defined as coming from sources that do not deplete natural resources. Deplete means do not exhaust or that do not spend all the natural resources or harm the environment. Wind power is an example. The term alternative is used to contrast with fossil fuels. Because Pakistan is not self-sufficient in many of the fossil fuels like oil, we don't have a good quality of coal here. So the most widely used alternative energy resources are solar and wind, which have shown prospects and potential for efficient utilization. Other include tidal wave, biomass, and geothermal source. Let me explain all one by one. Why we have energy crisis in Pakistan? There are certain reasons. Some of the causes are like economic and political instability of Pakistan. There is a fluctuation of oil prices in international market, and we are importing most of our oil from other countries. There's a faulty distribution system. The 15 to 20% energy through poor distribution system we are losing every year. Aging of equipment, like we are unable to generate required electricity because of this old equipments that we're using. The unproductive efforts, like we are conducting seminars and conferences in Pakistan, but there's no proper implementation. And again, the silting process, you know that it can reduce the capacity of the dams, and then it can lead to the reduction of the power generation. So to compensate with these crises, the need is to have alternative energy resources in the country. These resources are renewable and are available freely. Power plays a great role wherever man lives and works. The living standard and prosperity of a nation vary directly with the increase in the use of power. The electricity requirement of the world is increasing at an alarming rate due to the industrial growth, increased and extensive use of electrical gadgets. So we can't continue like this for long. According to World Energy Report, we get around 80% of our energy from conventional fossil fuels like oil 36%, natural gas 21%, and coal 23%. Limited fossil fuels will soon going to get exhausted, and even before that Earth will die out of high levels of greenhouse gases these fossil fuels emit. This realization prompted us to look for alternative energy resources. The use of alternative energy resources will be beneficial for us in many ways. It can help the environment. The use of renewable energy helps save the environment from further degradation and gives it an opportunity to regenerate. Afforestation and agroforestry combined with the introduction of energy efficient devices can help to create a sustainable fuel use system within the rural community and sustain the ecological balance of a region. It can provide better lighting, like better lighting enables the poor to stress their period of economic activity. Their children can help them in daily chores and then study in the evening. It can be beneficial for women, like lower dependency on fuel wood and other household fuel sources reduces the drudgery of women by shortening or eliminating the distances they travel for fuel collection. Drudgery means the hard work, the hard routine work of a woman. So they are beneficial for human health as use of improved cook stoves and biogas plants, for example, help reduce or eliminate health problems associated with using conventional cook stoves, including respiratory diseases and eye problems. It can enhance the income by providing local employment opportunities through direct use of energy in small scale industry and in agriculture. So let's start the renewable energy resources. On page number 144, the first renewable energy resource we have is hydroelectric power. Hydroelectric power stations use the force of flowing water to spin the hydro turbines. From a hydro turbine, there is a shaft going into the generator. Because the water has made the hydro turbine spin rapidly, this shaft spins rapidly inside a magnetic field in a generator, and this generates electricity. The electric current is regulated by the transformer and sent through the power line at the required voltage. In your book, you have two figures, figure 8.31 and 8.32. These figures show some of the factors needed for a hydroelectric power stations. Hydroelectric power is best developed in the mountainous regions where precipitation or the rainfall is adequate, means sufficient, and there is a steep slope or gradient. Gradient is a rising part, we can say a slope or the inclined part. Figure 8.34 in your book that shows the location of hydroelectric power plant at Bela Mangla and Warsak Dam and at other sites. The hydroelectric energy is very beneficial and there are many advantages, like hydroelectric power stations can promptly increase to full capacity. Electricity can be generated constantly so as long so long as sufficient water is available. Hydroelectric power produces no primary waste or pollution, and it is a renewable resource of energy. The next one is solar power. This is the energy of sunlight. Solar power is used in several ways. One way is to collect it in solar cells, which is called the photovoltaic cells. Solar cells can power radios and even small cars. Solar furnaces use giant mirrors to focus the sun's rays on a boiler. Steam from the boiler is used to make electricity. Solar panels collect heat energy from the sun. You have two figures on page number 145, figure 8.35 and figure 8.36. The 8.35 is a diagram of a solar panel which collects heat from the sun and uses it to heat water. And then we are getting steam and using this steam to turn the turbine to generate electricity. The next figure is 8.36, which is electric power at remote places is conveniently provided by solar power systems like this one installed at the Women's Art Center, Okada. So these are the solar panels you can see in this figure. These are the solar panels. In Pakistan, there's enough potential for solar energy as there are 250 to 300 sunny days a year in many parts of the country. Continuous cloudy days are also rare. Solar energy can be used for rural electrification, water heating, pumping water from wells, and for cooking purposes. Solar energy has the advantage of being safe, pollution-free, efficient, and in limitless power supply. But the construction of solar power station is expensive and require further advances in technology. At present time, solar technology is used in rural telephone exchange, highway emergency telephones, refrigeration for medicines in the hospitals, etc. The Public Health Department has installed many solar power water pumps for drinking purposes in different parts of the country. A number of companies are not only involved in trading photovoltaic products and appliances but also manufacturing different components of a photovoltaic system. They are selling PV modules, batteries, regulators, inverters, as well as practical low-power gadgets such as photovoltaic lamps, battery chargers, garden lights, etc., as an alternative source of conserve electricity. Some of the advantages of using solar power are like solar power imparts no fuel cost. Solar power is a renewable resource. As long as the sun exists, its energy will reach Earth. And solar power generation releases no water or air pollution because there is no combustion of fuels. Solar energy can be used very efficiently for heating solar ovens, solar water and home heaters and day lightnings. The next is the wind power. And humans use wind power or motion energy for many purposes like sailing, flying a kite, and even generating electricity. In the recent past, wind energy has emerged as clean, abundant, affordable, inexhaustible, and an environment friendly source of energy. The terms wind energy or wind power describes the process by which the wind is used to generate mechanical power or electricity. Windmills and wind pumps convert the kinetic energy in the wind into mechanical power. This mechanical power can be used for specific tasks such as grinding grains or pumping water. A wind turbine has a generator which converts this mechanical power into electricity. Large-scale wind farms, which consist of many turbines, are connected to electrical grids to provide electricity to a large area. Individual turbine can provide electricity to isolated locations. Some of the advantages of using wind power are like wind power produces no water or air pollution that can contaminate the environment because there are no chemical processes involved in wind power generation. Power from the wind does not contribute to global warming because it does not generate greenhouse gases. Wind generation is a renewable source of energy, which means that we will never run out of it. Farming and grazing can still take place on land occupied by wind turbines, and due to the ability of wind turbines to coexist within the agriculture fields, sitting costs are frequently low. How wind turbines work? Wind turbines work on a simple principle. Instead of using electricity to make wind like a fan, wind turbines use wind to make electricity. Wind turns the propeller-like blades of a turbine around a rotor, which spins a generator, which creates electricity. Unfortunately, at present, wind power contributes little to power production in Pakistan. Um, Coastal areas and mountains with high wind potential are considered more suitable for generation of wind power. There is a feasibility of developing wind power in Pakistan. The coast of Pakistan is about 1,000 kilometers long and has a population of about 10 million people. High wind is available nearly all year round in these areas. It is observed that the annual wind speed in Balochistan, in these areas, it is observed that the annual wind speed in Balochistan, like Ormara, Jiwani, and Pasni and Karachi, is such that it can be used to generate electricity. So I think that's enough for today's lecture. Here you will get an assignment. You have to do three questions from your book that is on page number 153 in Unit 8. Question number 2, question number 3, and question number 4 with their subparts. Thank you so much, dear students, for watching this video. We'll meet up again with another video with a new lecture. I hope everything will be clear now, but still, if you have any query, drop your queries in the comment box and we'll meet up again in the new video. I'll give you your replies. Till then, bye.